A very well welcome to John Ford from the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. Thanks for joining us, John. Appreciate your time.
No problem, Callie, not at all.
So you're you're boomerang corner man.
Well, we sit just below Boomerang, so a lot of Boomerang
Okay.
are good friends. I know it's. I think I'm here because of Boomerang. One
Yeah,
person in Boomerang in particular, Joe. So
yeah.
thanks very much, Joe.
You came
Always a good
highly
one for pumping
recommended,
the.
so you
Yeah,
did.
she's always a good one for pumping our tires on Door 14. So thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about yourself. I saw in your bio that there's a Fife reference there. You're not a secret Fife Flyers fan, any chance?
Oh well, there's definitely a history there. So
Yeah.
I was born and grew up in Fife for the
All right.
first 20 years of my life for my sins.
Right.
If anyone knows Fife, I'm from right in the foot of the Lomond Hills on the other side from Kirkcaldy. But
Okay.
grew up, my whole hockey upbringing was in the old barn,
Uh-huh.
where you're about 2 inches away from sweaty hockey players. Not
Yeah.
anymore. Now they've got their fully installed plexi that
Yeah, of
separates
course.
fans and players because of what
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
But no, I'm here now in Belfast, going on 14 years.
Mhm.
Season ticket holder and fully fledged Giants fan, as you can tell from behind me now.
Yeah, and you've got a successful podcast as well. There's a few of the guys involved in that.
That's it, yeah. So a few years ago, a few friends, Marty, Dave, and Aaron, and myself decided to set up a bit of a fan-orientated hockey podcast,
Mhm.
looking at hockey from across the whole world. Of
Yeah.
course, we look at it with teal-tinted spectacles when it comes to the Elite League. But yeah, we've been putting it out now for 4 or 5 years and really enjoy it. It's a great way to get your voice out there, even if only 4 or 5 people are listening to you.
That's it. So you're obviously back at the hockey. Obviously, coming up to this weekend, the Clan are going to face off in their first game of the season away against the Belfast Giants. And how have you felt? Being back at hockey, we've not experienced that as Clan fans. So have you felt that there's been what have you sort of missed from that?
It's just the sense of community. For the year and a bit that we were away from hockey, because obviously it was ripped away from us all of a sudden.
Yeah,
None of us really saw it coming. There was a couple of weeks back before the first lockdown where we're hearing all about COVID-19 and we're starting to see the way that things were going internationally.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, for the announcements, and really it started in Belfast.
mhm,
The first game that was really cancelled was Belfast, with a couple of players going down with positive test results. And that was one of the first times we heard anything about
yeah,
positive test results or anything. And then 2 weeks later, the entire league was just called off. But getting back in has just been fantastic. The sense of community from the crowds. I mean, honestly, I thought crowds would suffer, and I
mhm,
thought we would really struggle to see what looked like a proper crowd in the arenas. But the last few games have been absolutely fantastic. The atmosphere is like nothing uh, I've experienced outside of like championship deciding games or European games. Really, that's the sort of atmosphere we're getting for games against Fife on a Sunday.
yeah. But do you think that's maybe a pent up feeling that people have been closed for so long? They're desperate to get out and about. Or is it new fans, or is it existing fans, or is it just a combination, do you think?
I think there's a mix. I think there's
Mhm.
a real mix of the likes of real hockey fans who've really sort of been jonesing for it for sort of 18, 19 months. And if when you've got those people who are constantly going on about the fact that they've missed the hockey, they haven't been to the hockey for so long,
Yeah.
that word gets out there, and all the people who've been interested for the last 10 or 15 years or 20 years, if you're in Belfast here and you haven't really gone, but you've heard all this mumbling and murmuring about this hockey thing, they're starting to come out now, out of the woodwork. They're coming to the games and they're coming back regularly now. So
That's
I
great.
mean, it's fantastic.
No, that's great. So does it feel any different from before? Pre-pandemic, do you feel has there been much of a different feeling, or is it really much the same? You were saying about the singing and the drums and stuff are going, no doubt, as well. So has there
Oh,
been much of a
100%.
change?
Do you know what? It's the same, but it's different. I can't think of any other way to put it. There are still some controls. So up until fairly recently, you're sort of staying in your seats. Your mask has to be on unless you're eating or drinking. But the atmosphere is still there. The songs are still there. And I've got to give massive credit here for the atmosphere in Belfast,
Yeah,
especially to Boomerang Corner.
yeah,
They really are, any given game, they're the heart and soul of a Belfast game night here.
mm,
Any Clan fans coming across, they'll know fine rightly that the abuse is getting hurled at them from that opposite corner straight across the ice from Boomerang Corner. And look, they're just fans. They're nothing to do with the team as well. And I think there's been a lot made about that this atmosphere isn't artificial. This is from fans. And I know it's exactly the same in Glasgow. With I don't know what the section it is. That tends to be, that's the ones. That's where the atmosphere comes. And it comes from those fans in particular, and it spreads out across an entire arena when you've got people that are that passionate. And it's definitely still there even now, sort of post-pandemic. In fact, it's probably there even more. Everyone's so happy to get back.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. How do we look at the Giants? Obviously, that's going to be coming up against the Giants on Sunday. Really strong start in regards to Challenge Cup. I think we've won 7 out of 8 or something like that. League, a bit slower, but to be fair, you guys are playing away from home, haven't you? You've put 4 games on the road. A good victory, obviously, there against Nottingham Panthers. What's your sort of take been on the start to the season as a Giants fan?
Do you know what? This team has absolute bags of talent and bags of potential. But yeah, we had a shaky start, going from good wins to absolutely atrocious losses. You just have to look at the Storm shutout away in Manchester. It was awful. The team looked like they were skating through treacle compared to the Storm. But yeah, we're now starting to see, I think, what this team can do. That road win in Nottingham, that's huge. Let alone it's on an anniversary. If you ever listen to any, particularly to A View from the Bridge, you'll know it was Never Forgive, Never Forget night. Looking back to a particular incident between Nottingham and Belfast a few years ago, but to get a shutout on that, I think the guys knew what that meant, but they also know that Nottingham it's the first of those teams that we've come up against that really, that's your league competition. And that's been our first bite of proper league competition. Coming up this week, we look to Sheffield, and that'll be interesting as well to see if they can continue the run that they've had, because our focus really has been Challenge Cup, and we have qualified already. I think actually at this point we've qualified top of the Challenge Cup.
You have, yeah.
So we'll get to select our opponent for the next round. But it's interesting, bags of potential, but we're starting to see them hit the ice running now, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crazy results in the Elite League. There's teams winning 7-0 one night and getting beaten 8-0 the next night. I think the teams that will obviously come to the fore, that obviously the big teams like Belfast, Sheffield, Cardiff are the ones you'll probably look at. Panthers probably in there as well. It'll come down to really consistency, won't it, throughout the season? Because some teams can pull off a really good result, but it's getting that consistency throughout the season that can be the problem.
100%. Any team that can string wins together will come out with a league championship. And it's funny as well, you think of it in terms of league championships, and it's funny because our league is one of the few that puts the regular season league trophy at the top of the pile. Playoffs, for what it is in the Elite League, isn't really, it's nice to have at the end of the season, but what you want is the league trophy. And I think at the start of any season, it's quite hard for any new incoming imports to kind of get their head around that a win in October means as much as a win in March.
Sure. Definitely. I mean, I've been watching some of the Giants games, and early signs are some really good quality on the roster. What kind of players have stood out from you? What would you say were the strengths of the Giants team this season?
Depth. Depth is absolutely key in this team. And if you're looking at standout players, Jordan Boucher, for me, seeing him live, he is everywhere on the ice at any given time. He's a forward, but he's involved in absolutely everything. I've never seen a work rate like that before. Probably short of Darryl Lloyd. Back in his tenure with the Giants, he is that sort of guy that you blink and he's on the other side of the ice and he's involved in the play all the time. He's absolutely fantastic. You put that in with the likes of David Goodwin, our captain this year. He, again, is another one of those guys that can get into the dirty areas and can produce. He might not score a massive number of goals, but he can produce that clinical pass that gets a goal, just maybe one or two plays down the line. And then we've got the likes of Darcy Murphy, who's just an absolute magician when he gets going. I don't think he's even stepped up into second gear really this season. He's been quite quiet to start with. He's had injury problems.
Okay.
But when he really gets the tires going, you will see an incredible player, and you'll see the points just rack up. And then we've got huge backstopping with Tyler Beskorowany coming back into the roster this season. He's had a season away where he went to the DEL. He's come back for his second season. And honestly, when he was here the last time, we won the Elite League and we won it on his back. And if he gets going again, then we're going to see the same thing again.
Yeah, I mean, certainly net minding. I said my last episode is huge in this league. You get guys, as you say, like Beskorowany, that's first class. You get even guys like CJ Mott at Coventry. Guys that can win you games. We're bringing in Shane Starrett again. We'll wait to see how he does. But stats look good. But I try not get too pulled away by stats because you just don't know what you're going to get, do you? You can get excited by them or you could be put off by them, but you've got to see the guys playing before you can really
judge. That's it. You just have to be the likes of Sheffield, and a guy can look great on paper, but when he hits the ice, he can struggle.
Yeah, I mean, what players do you think will give the Clan some issues on Sunday?
Definitely the guys I was talking about earlier on, the likes of your Jordan Boucher, your Darcy Murphy, David Goodwin. I mean, up front, that's an absolutely killer combination of players. But defensively, we are rock solid as well. You've got Kevin Rain, who is now, I think, in his third or fourth season with the Giants. Absolutely solid in defense. And actually, when you look at the on a veteran side, you've got Mark Garside, who is now an absolute mainstay, Scottish guy. Came through, I think, the air system, did he?
Yeah, I think you're
originally.
Right, yeah.
And he's just absolutely brilliant. Played forward for a long number of years, but he's now stepped back into the D. And he's just rock solid. That veteran leadership, you can't talk about that too much. Either that veteran leadership that we get from the likes of Mark Garside. Put that in combination, great up front, solid defense, brilliant net minding. You've got trouble all over the ice if you're a Clan fan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think what you've got there, you've got a bit of consistency. Guys like Darcy Murphy coming back, and even Beskorowany that's returned. He knows the Belfast system. What we've obviously seen at the Clan is quite a large turnover of players. We've lost guys like Scott Pitt, Matt Becker, Stannis. These guys have retired, so we've got quite a turnaround of team. We've got a new coach coming in, new to the Elite League, Malcolm Cameron as well. So. Do you know much about the Clan players? Obviously, there's some new names there, but do you know much about that current team?
About the majority of your new players, I'll be honest, I don't really know too much, but some of your returning players, I do know. You've got some household Elite League names like Matt Haywood and Matthew Waugh, even though his name's spelled R-O-Y, Roy. I'm going to assume that Haywood is probably going to rock the sea again for you guys this season. He had a solid season as the captain previously. And you've got to we put it down to that veteran leadership. He's got history, and you would expect him to lead from the front. Matthew Waugh, obviously, know him probably more from his history with the Steelers. But again, solid player, type of guy that you don't like playing against. You would 100% have him on your team, but you don't want him lining up against you. And as far as newcomers come, the one name that's absolutely jumped out to me is young Harry Ferguson. I know him obviously from his Elite League days with Milton Keynes. He's obviously stayed with them when they took the decision to step down a league, but always been really impressed with how he conducts himself on the ice for a young guy surrounded by a lot of older players. And now he's not a new player now, but he's still that new and exciting player. And for being a GB player as well, that's what I absolutely love to see, is these GB guys getting the chance in a team like this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him stepping up.
Yeah, he's a few seasons at a lower level, so you think he'll be champing at the bit to get up to Elite League again and see what he can do for sure. So looking at Sunday's game, Clan are obviously just coming in off the back of a warm-up game at Solway. The Giants have been rolling a bit now, and great win there against the Panthers. And obviously, as you say, you go down to play the Steelers on the Saturday night. How do you feel this game could pan out? A team coming in that's unknown, first game into Belfast. And I look back at the previous Clan results in Belfast, and I stopped after about the 8th game because I was seeing Belfast scoring 5, 6, 6, 4. In fact, I counted 8 games, 42 goals. So we tend to lose a lot of goals, and I think early games sometimes we lose goals, which maybe puts us in the back foot. So I suppose if you're a Giants coach, you're going to probably say come out and jump over that team at the start. Bust legs or whatever. So what's your thoughts around how that game could pan out potentially?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, talking about the scoring potential of this team, that's definitely what Adam Keefe will be looking at. He'll be looking for the Giants to come out strong. He'll be looking for them to take the game by the throat and put us 2-3 goals ahead by the end of the first period. That's what you would expect, and I think that's what this team is geared towards. Is a heavily goal scoring team. But you're 100% right. Glasgow are coming in here. They're an unknown quantity. With only one game against the Solway Sharks, even anyone looking at that result is going to struggle to put any kind of system in place against this team. You're only really going to get to know this team by watching them on the ice, and it just happens that the Giants are the first opposition, so it's kind of an opportunity for every other team to keep an eye on this game and see what the Clan are all about.
I suppose the Clan don't have anything to lose, though. They're probably coming in. People have probably written them off in this first game. So I suppose we'll see how it pans out.
It will, and it'll be interesting to see. The other thing to bear in mind is that you talk about bus legs there, and well, for this occasion, probably ferry legs. It'll be ferry legs for the Clan players, and maybe plane legs for the Giants. Yeah. And let's bear in mind, both teams are traveling here for that game on that day. So really, there's no advantage as far as travel is concerned. So that might play into the Clan's hands on this one. But again, the Giants have been playing now for 4 weeks. They've had experience with the travel. Maybe that's something that's going to count against the Clan for this one. Is the first time on that boat. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, you're hoping for choppy seas.
Definitely. I suppose another thing to maybe run by you is around what you've seen in the Elite League this season. There's not been many games, but you obviously maybe witnessed some of the other teams out there. Just to get your views on other teams who you think will be the favourites for the league this season.
Yeah, so here in Belfast, the vast majority of what we've seen has been the Scottish teams. We've seen Dundee and Fife an awful lot over here because we've really started the campaign with Challenge Cup heavy. Yeah. Dundee are a team that continually at the start of a season really impress me. What Omar Pasha is able to do with the budget that he has in Dundee is always spectacular. Unfortunately, they tend to trail away off at the end of seasons. That's what we tend to see. They're fighting for those playoff spots. Fife have had a really difficult start to the season. Let aside what has to be seen as a complete oddity 8-0 win against Manchester after having been grubbed 5-0 down in Manchester themselves. Yeah. The rest of the league seems to, it's very early doors. It's tough to look at any trends coming through, but you can't deny that the likes of the Steelers are looking very, very strong this season. Yeah. Nottingham seem to be blowing hot and cold. Coventry, very much the same, blowing hot and cold. And the Devils, to me, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what this new Devils team is all about. They're in a very similar position to the Clan. There's a high turnover of players. There's new coach in place. And the only advantage they've got is having gone straight into CHL. I think that's given that team the chance to gel a little bit earlier. Yeah. And it's probably one of the most interesting Elite League seasons that we've had in a long time. Yeah. All the players have had a year and a half, nearly 2 years without playing. And you can see a lot of rust is starting to shake off a lot of players and a lot of teams. Results are all over the place. Yeah. If you had a gun to my head, though, and you said, where's the league going to go and things like that, I think, obviously, we look at it with teal-tinted spectacles. I expect Belfast to win absolutely everything. And Trouncett, I expect them to defend their championship again. No champion last year, no champion technically the year before. So, we're technically three-year defending champions here. Yeah. But if you take Belfast out, just for argument's sake, I would say the Steelers look like potentials for the league. And Challenge Cup's not my favourite competition in the world, but this is where I would expect the Devils. They've been put together for that CHL run. Yeah. So that short form competition, I think, suits potentially that squad a little bit better. So I would maybe see the Devils maybe walk away with that. But you never know. The likes of a Guildford Flames or a Coventry Blaze could come out of nowhere. Or even could be the Fife Flyers. You never know. It could be their year.
You never know. So I really appreciate your time, John, coming, and I'll look forward to the game on Sunday, and let's just see how it pans out. But I really appreciate you coming on and giving up your time, and I'm sure everybody will look forward to listening to your podcast going forward. So how do we get to listen to that podcast again?
It's the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. You'll find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, a pile of other places at Door 14 Hockey. You'll find our website at door14hockey.com, and you'll find all the links there to subscribe any way you like.
Brilliant, John. I really appreciate your time.
Good luck to the clan on Sunday, and I hope you come second.
Thanks, mate. Take care.